Friends, if you're looking for real old school laughs, you're in for a treat because we've got them right here. Flip City Magazine. Remember Mad Magazine? Then it went woke? Well, don't worry. Flip City has no chance of going woke. That's right. 4 times a year, you'll get an actual printed magazine full of jokes, stories, comics, and more, all about today's pop culture, entertainment, and woke politics. Flip City takes terrible entertainment trends we love to hate with hilarious parodies of Lord of the Rings, Stranger Things, The Walking Dead, Star Trek, Hunters, and more. Trust me when I say there is nothing else like Flip City on the market. So subscribe today. It will be delivered in print, or you can even get it digitally if you're one of those wacky Zoomers. Either way, follow our link and sign up today, and if you put in midnight, you get an extra 10% off. Check out Flip City Magazine today.
Morning. I don't know. We killed Mother Care. Hello, what?
Welcome to the morning show, everybody. That seems to be everybody's mental state this morning. Welcome. I'm Tom Connors. We have Andre, who's a little under the weather still, but hopefully with us.
Actually, I am much better. You know what happened yesterday evening, Norwegian time?
What's that?
My brain fog lifted, so I'm feeling fantastic.
Good. Glad to hear.
Yeah, I'm guessing I probably had a new bout of COVID because I was sick as a dog on Wednesday, and like my mind wasn't working. But yesterday I was all good. So yeah, feeling good. As someone with a very appropriate name is pointing out. So yeah, no, now I just have a regular cold, so that I'm feeling fit for fight. So that's awesome.
We also have with us Mr. Paul Chato.
Where?
From the Great White North. I know he owes me money.
Owes me $5. Hi, everyone. I don't have a cold, but I waited way too long to book tea times for after this show, and I'm not going to pay $100 for tea time. So I'm just going to go to the driving range.
Tea is not worth that.
No, tea is I don't like tea. I don't like green pekoe tea, Indian tea. I do like different herbal teas, but even as a baby, which in Hungarian, tea was the cure-all for everything. And when I was sick as a baby, I turned my nose to it. My mom was always aghast. Never liked it.
But if they put honey in the tea, it was actually the honey that did the trick and not the tea.
Probably.
No, but they just did straight tea.
You're talking about golf, but yeah, that was like the only time last night 2 old men were really coherent, but no, we'll see. We're going to get into that a little bit.
You know what?
Welcome. Good morning.
They should have had it out on the golf course. Whoever had the best score wins.
You know what? That should be debate number 2. That's walking through.
That sounds like an Adam Sandler movie.
Carrying the entire golf clubs and everything without having a go-kart, caddy, or anything like that. I'd watch that. That'd be fun. But
wow.
we will get into that later in the show.
I say maybe that's what Happy Gilmore 2 is going to be about. It'll be about him winning a tournament to be president. There you go.
We are talking the biggest flops of the week today. So yeah, we are going to get into that later on here.
Yeah, well, Acolyte has pretty much, like, I think you called it the least worst episode, Paul.
Yeah.
I still ain't watched it.
A lot of people are calling it that. It's like watching Power Rangers. But Power Rangers,
it's kind of an insult to Power Rangers.
It is. That's true, because your expectation, I mean, Power Rangers 100% meets your expectations, right? Whereas I think the Star Wars, everything in Star Wars, you're kind of hoping for, a return to the past, if that's whatever that means now, right? So, yeah, the inconsistencies. I mean, yeah, we weren't going to talk. Well, I think we already talked about the damn show in one of the previous
We did, yeah, the previous
Wednesdays.
one.
We don't
to
need
be
to repeat
exact.
it. It's. I'm going to say something.
No,
really.
but
Go ahead.
I was just say the conversation today is just season 2, but go ahead and say what you were going to say.
No, yeah, I don't think there's. I doubt if there's going to be a season 2. We don't know what the ratings are. They put out some ratings for the first 2 episodes, and then it's been radio silent since, right?
Well, they're
Pretty
not
much,
been
yeah.
great. Yeah, like shows like Bridgerton are still kicking its ass, and the last chart I saw it on was like it was 7th place under a bunch of repeated shows and stuff like that. But yeah, no, I mean the big talk though about the Acolyte yesterday was for some reason Entertainment Weekly went and did some story about the fact that the season 2 is unlikely when nobody was talking about season 2 to begin with. So I don't even know why they put that out there unless they were trying to generate some kind of interest to get people
Well,
talking about it.
there was a story very early on, only once. I do not right now remember exactly where or when, but there was a story years ago when the Acolyte was only in development that they were planning a multi-season run. Maybe they said something in last year's like Star Wars celebration at London. Maybe it was something there. I don't remember. Anyway, it was a long time before the story came out or before the series came out that someone at some point threatened with multiple seasons. Because the kind of investment with that is the Acolyte, you don't do that for just one season. So at some point, that was threatened. And of course, how serious that was, we don't know. I do find it interesting, though, that one of the industry trades basically now go and try to give a face-saving excuse for why there won't be any more seasons. For instance, with Obi-Wan Kenobi, there was a desire to do more seasons. We know this because Ewan McGregor won't shut up about how much he wants to do season 2 and hope there's going to be another season. We know that more seasons at some point were planned for Ahsoka. We haven't heard anything about it since. And so to me, this story right here seems like a face-saving excuse for, oh no, this was just a standalone thing because Leslie Headland shoved everything there was to shove into this one season in case there wasn't any more. And yeah, it could very well be that this one story is a standalone story, but well, of course, we'll know when we get to the final episodes and we see if there are any doors open for more stories there. But I would certainly imagine that since this has been placed into the High Republic initiative, I would be shocked if this didn't end on a note where they can just pick up, not necessarily this story directly, but they can pick up with the spiritual continuation of the Acolyte following the exploits of, for instance, the green-headed woman who happens to be Leslie Headland's wife in season 2, continuing the further adventures of the High Republic era. So I think that probably was the plan, that they start this and then they continue the stories of the High Republic era, and now all of that is called into question, or not even that, it's already dead, because that's what all of these stories signify. When we get stories like this signifies that season 2 ain't coming, and here's the face-saving excuse as to why.
Well, and this Paul Tassi guy is quickly becoming the new what's his face, my old arch enemy.
Scott Mendelson.
Scott Mendelson, thank you. Like, yeah, so Six sent me this, and yeah, this is the only person out there going, yeah, there might be some promising news about season 2. Yeah, so yeah, I don't know how he talks about the EW story that I brought up. So, and I think you're right. Unless they leave it on some cliffhanger, I don't know if that was ever really part of the plan. So, According to this guy, though, Paul Tassi, there are 4 to 5 major mystery plot points that season 2 would contain. She talks about how character development needs to hit certain points in second or third, fourth seasons, though none of this has been worked out already. She talks about cortosis, the metal that can deflect and short out lightsabers, which she says is a finite resource, which is why we don't see it carry on in the future. Oh, of course, because that's convenient otherwise.
I had my peeps tell me what's with these shorting out lightsabers. In my review, I decided not to act stupid about it. I said, "Hey, what's this?" And then they were happy to tell me, yes, cortosis, which is a very bad skin rash.
A skin rash is what I would expect that you would get. I mean, people get like caught up with him headbutting the lightsabers with his helmet. But fine, let's just say that his helmet is made of an element that is resistant to lightsabers. Fine, let's just go with that. What annoyed me more is that he's using his arms to punch other lightsabers, and
he's got it on his arm. He's got that metal on top of his arm.
You'd think Vader would have wanted that for an outfit.
Pardon me?
In powder form or what? Like
no. You can see it. You can see in some of the shots. He's got a I don't know what that's called in armor land, but he's got a what?
It's called bullshit.
No.
Armor?
He's got a thing on the top of his arm.
Yeah, fine.
Like a guard, or whatever you want to call it, yeah.
But still, so basically he has like an arm protector or arm bracelet.
And you can see him use it. In one shot, you can see him use it, deflect it, and then stick his head in between another shot.
So, I saw him using his arms to deflect it. I just didn't see the protection on them.
Yeah, you can. That
was my point. Okay. Yeah, well.
So I know that Beskar, which I completely forgot about, because I'm only half interested in the lore of this. Beskar will
that's fine, because so are the people doing this. So
Beskar will deflect, but not infinitely. If you keep whacking it with a lightsaber, apparently, it will.
Well, you shouldn't keep whacking it, Paul.
I should keep whacking.
Well, at your age, probably.
I'm less than Biden. So yeah, I didn't necessarily mind that, but these are things that you call it. It's called Chekhov's gun. You want to set those things up ahead of time, so you go, oh, I get what's going on. There's just some things you don't leave as a mystery. It's of no value. And if this was going to be a regular TV show along the lines of my network thinking, I would know who the bad guy is from the very beginning. That wouldn't be a disease. That wouldn't be a mystery. And then you find, again, it's in the end, it's no different from He-Man, where you've got, the bad guy tries to do something and fails, and He-Man wins, and they're killing off all sorts of good characters. We don't have any. We have barely an A story, but we have no B and C. Like they're not using their time to flesh out what the universe is through other characters. We don't know, like Saul has got life outside of what he's doing with May and Osha. Does he have like a boy going to a play that he has to go to in the middle of a fight? And sorry, I got to leave because my son's doing, he's in the middle of some kind of play, so I have to go see it. And his wife goes, "You missed the play. Why can't you?" I'm just joking. But even the spiky-haired girl who we all, I think, grew to love, it would have been nice to keep her around, just so she could have some kind of story that we follow. It's very incompetently written.
Yeah, absolutely. The writing is absolutely abysmal. There is no defending it.
Yeah, so it's like it's like playing Uncharted. You just go from the next thing, and then you have a fight, then you have some exchange. But even Uncharted was extremely well written. You really got to like the characters.
Talking about the movie or the game now? Actually,
the game. I'm talking about the game. The movie.
I never saw the movie. Come to think of it,
the game is brilliant.
Yeah, well, the game, at least you get to participate in the action yourself. Here, you're just basically a participant watching watching someone else play the game of lesbian Star Wars.
Well, and fighting glow sticks in the dark. I mean, I didn't mind the fighting, but it got tedious to have everything in the
You know why? The
in the
fighting
dark.
actually would have been fine if everything else around it worked. But that's the
Mhm.
problem. Everyone is now so burned out on all things Star Wars because Star Wars is so bad. And this show bears the brunt of that. Because, for one thing, it's not good in its own right, but it's even worse because of its legacy. That this is kind of like the culmination of all things Kathleen Kennedy Star Wars up till this point.
Yeah,
Uh, and,
in many ways,
and it suffers
Andor.
from that.
Yeah, we talked about Andor being
Yeah,
okay, and Andor had A, B, and C stories, which kind of made it vaguely normal as a
yeah, I'm sure it
storytelling
is
vehicle.
fine. I never seen it, but I hear so many
Okay.
people say, even when it came out, that people need to check this out because this is so good. This is nothing like Star Wars, by
Well,
which they mean it's nothing like Kathleen Kennedy Star Wars. This is actually okay. It's like all of the usual suspects fell asleep while they were making this, and that may very well be the case, but it doesn't help because it's too
no,
little, it's too
too
late,
late.
and it's too low profile. No
Andor
one
would
saw
have
it,
been
but no one can
great
do anything.
if they cut out all of Andor's parts and just kept the Republic parts, not the Republic, the Empire parts. No, I can't remember. Empire parts where there was political intrigue and who was on whose side and who was spying on who and who was a defector. That actually, that whole part of Andor was really, really interesting. I could have gotten rid of Andor and whoever acted, as he was boring as shit. But anyway, so that's a different story. Yeah, it's funny. Again, it's a continuation of the writers just don't appreciate the technical side of things in their world. They use it as plot armor, like, oh, I got the helmet and I can deflect stuff. It's writing of convenience. It just pops up. I will always make this complaint that since Disney took over and J.J. Abrams has no idea what gear porn is, they just don't appreciate the world that they're in and the machinery in the world. They just hop on a spaceship now and get someplace. Maybe there's that stupid little pip droid that OSHA has, kind of, relates to what Star Wars used to be, but there's just not of it. We've got sputtering lightsabers. Why? The lightsaber sputter off. You've got two Jedi sort of looking at each other and looking at their lightsaber, wondering what went wrong. They're not like ducking for cover. They're not trying to figure what happened to their lightsaber. They take the gear completely for granted. They just don't get that they're dealing with mechanical devices and how important they are, and I mean, that's actually a good thing that these things break. That's not a bad idea. But then how do you start them back up? Why don't they duck behind a rock and go, Jesus fucking Christ, like how did this happen? Yeah, how do we get this thing back? This has never happened before. We're not getting any of that kind of conversation because they just don't care. The writers don't have an appreciation for the world that they're in.
Yeah, no, for sure. They created a new one, probably partially for that reason, but still, don't respect the worlds. Evidently so, and they haven't
Don't
for a
respect
very long
physics.
time.
Have fires in space. Have trees cut at the wrong angle and turn and then fall over in the opposite way. Like when what's his name threw his lightsaber ring.
And speaking of lightsabers, hairdressers and barbers can now start using
Correct.
lightsabers as a part of their toolkit.
That's right. They can do a trim. And as I said in my video, men can go in there and have a Luke manicure. They
Yeah.
can just get rid of the hand.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
lightsabers are very handy.
Apart from when it comes to killing ladies, one stab won't do it. You need 3.
They killed Jackie. Yes, they
But it took 3. That's what
3.
people are missing. Like, I mean, that Sith, he knew how to do it. He knew, oh, a lady, I have to stab her 3 times in rapid succession because that's
But
the only thing that's
it
going to do
was
it.
it was under the scapulas and one a little bit below the heart. If she has a heart in the same place as humans do, because she's not a human. Oh, not she's an it. That's right. Someone got he properly gendered Jackie as an it.
Yeah. So he was being very respectful. So
Jackie could still be alive, except for the fact that Saul just decided to get back on the ship, not collect the bodies of his Jedi under his
or their lightsabers. He just left them there in the
and he left the lightsabers. It's like when the Americans left Iraq and just left all that gear there.
Well, Afghanistan is a worse example, but yeah,
that's the first thing I thought of.
Get to that, but yeah,
like what isn't there? What's the Jedi tradition to deal with their dead? Don't they have some kind of Nordic thing? Don't they like put them on a pyre and then float them out onto the ocean or something? I don't know. He just leaves a bunch of dead Jedi there, or does he? Is there a cleanup crew that comes in later?
Pretty sure they are at the very least supposed to bring their lightsabers as an ID tag. Pretty sure that's the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Pretty sure you don't leave those hanging around, because let alone like the respect for the dead and afterlife and yada 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 yada. Leaving a lightsaber, that's leaving a live freaking grenade for the populace to pick up and play with.
Right. Well, apart from the fact that they pulled a Haley Mills between Osha and May, at the very end, I'm not entirely certain that not Ezra Miller knows that the prone body on the ground is not May. He covers her up gently, gingerly, as if he cares. But throughout this entire episode, he was trying to kill her. And then suddenly he's not killing her because does he know she's Osha? There's so much stupid stuff in here, which actually I find quite delicious. I'm enjoying the show because it actually moves along fast enough that the stupid stuff is compressed in a short enough time frame, and it happens rapidly, as opposed to Rings of Power, which is so on top of being bad, desperately dull. Like it takes so long between anything happening that it compounds the horribleness. That was a slog. This I'm not finding a slog. This I'm finding, wow, awful, charmingly awful.
Entertaining in its awfulness.
Yes. And like I said, the stuff, the bad things happen in quick succession.
Yeah. Rapid fire.
That's right.
Yeah, indeed.
I've got you dead to rights. Now I'm not going to lop off your head, Kamir, because I've got you here. I could just end the entire show right now by lopping your head. Osha yells, "No, don't," because I've got this plot thing I'm going to do where giant moths are going to take him away. Okay. Fine.
Yeah, indeed. Let's put a pin in the Star Wars discussion there.
Sorry, and gone forever.
Run through a number of these super chats. Then we have one story more flop to go through before we get to the biggest flop of the week. First, everyone, please smash that like. Follow the example of Dr. Longdongler there. And then we're going to leave some of these super chats for when we get to that topic. But Ruby Hoove donated a one Midnight Edge membership, which is fantastic. So we really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And Patrick Robinson says for $4.99, Tom, were you aware that there was a TV-made sequel to The Jerk? I believe it was called The Jerk 2.
I was aware of it. I've never actually seen it. I've heard it's horrible. I believe it was like meant to be like a backdoor pilot for a TV show that never happened or something like that. But yeah, there's a show for you at some point, Paul, when you kind of exhaust your TV guide ones. You can do just like a whole episode on TV show movies that, or TV shows, there we go, based on movies that just didn't go nowhere.
That's
Because you got everything from Ferris Bueller to, for every MASH, there was 10 dozen Ferris Buellers and the Jerks.
They
and
even tried, what was the one with Louis Gossett Jr. and the Alien
Blazing
one?
Saddle? Oh, I thought you were talking Blazing Saddles, because he was in that too.
No, there was the Alien one with Louis Gossett Jr. was the alien. We talked about the movie
Enemy Mine.
Enemy Mine. They did a television version of that, which actually
I know they did Alien Nation, but yeah, I don't remember the Enemy Mine one, but
yeah.
They did Blazing Saddles even. It didn't
on
work.
TV. They tried it.
Yeah, with Louis Gossett Jr. as the sheriff.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't know any. I haven't encountered it.
It's actually on the Blu-ray if you pick it up.
Holy smokes! Nope.
It was just one episode. It never made it past the pilot.
I don't know how they would get that past the TV censors.
Didn't quite work. I mean, well, you got to remember back then you could get away with a little bit more racial stuff than you could now. Because I point out what's funny is because I saw Blazing Saddles the first time I ever saw it was on television.
Right.
And they didn't cut out any of the N-words. The N-word was all throughout the film.
Really?
Yeah, the F-words they cut out, and they cut out the farting. But for the first few years that movie was on TV, all the N-words were left in.
I'll tell you, the funniest thing, the relationship I had with my mom, the most offensive thing to her was people farting. To her, it was so funny. So you just rip one at dinner, and she would just leave the table. She was just disgusted.
That's good to know.
Good Hungarian mom.
Yeah.
Somebody's saying there was a Coming to America pilot as well.
Yes, there was.
But I do have the Beverly Hills Cop pilot that didn't go nowhere from a few years back, if you're interested in it.
Well, that's an interesting thought. TV movies that did not translate to TV. That's interesting. I would love a network to take the chance and resurrect. I'm going to use the word worst of network TV. Stop with all these cop procedurals. Bring back something that's like The Flying Nun, something that's like the Beverly Hillbillies. Just come up with concepts that feel like they're from the heyday of TV.
Do a remake of the failed Faulty Tower remake.
Yes.
There you go.
We don't need that.
Just don't do what X did. Did you see that new cartoon that X put out? The New Norm? Oh, that's right. You don't have X. I forgot.
No, I've been banned.
Is that not Daily Wire? Am I confusing?
No, this one's from X. It is called The New Norm. We talked about it last night. And all I said was I would not be surprised.
It's a show on X?
Yeah, if some lawyers show up from Norman Lear and who was it, ABC that did All in the Family, whoever owns that. I think it's Lorimar that owns it. But because this show is more, it's not even really a satire at this point. It's literally just a ripoff of All in the Family. It's basically like if somebody told you what All in the Family was and then showed you a picture and they went and did a show. But it's like anti-woke stuff, and it is so cringe.
It is so bad. I'll have to send it to you. They bought the license to a British show, Till Death Do Us Part, I think.
But I mean, once you see it, you'll be like, oh yeah, I can't believe lawyers aren't knocking on their doors already, because this is a straight up ripoff. Because it even goes past satire, right? It's like you have a character who's basically Archie Bunker. The setup is basically All in the Family. It is too much, too similar, and not really a satire. I'll have to send it to you.
Yeah. Send me a link.
Or actually, I'll probably have to download it for you and send it to you, considering it's on X. But yeah, Packing Proton says, conspiracy theory, Mark Hamill is running for president instead of Biden. It's the only explanation. Just kidding. Well,
we'll get into that in due course.
Joe Bloney Kenobi, or whatever the fuck he called him. And then Packing Proton says, imagine the fun 70s SNL would have with the debate. Oh yeah, who would play Biden and Trump? Belushi for Biden, Aykroyd for Trump. Probably.
I think we'll have to rely on foreign politicians or comedians to have fun with it.
There's an Israeli sketch show that's actually doing the Biden stuff really well. It's amateur.
Italians too.
Yeah, and they're just they're doing it better than any of the American sketch shows are.
And the Saudis are also doing that.
Really?
Yes. They had like a really great one. I think you surely must have seen it, where you basically have something that looks like a black man in drag playing Kamala, introducing Joe, trying to basically steer him through simple conversation. That's a Saudi one.
Wow. Well, I mean, again, a lot of
Yeah.
these foreign shows approach it almost like a high school sketch show where there's a certain joy in the way they do it, and it's very childish, and that you'd never be able to get away with that here. But
No, but you know what that is? That's a sign of the lack of respect. That's what
yes.
Yes, it is.
Sometimes a lack of respect is good. We need more lack of respect
We do we do for some things.
for some things. Yes,
We do
I
for
agree.
some things, but when those things mean okay, good to go, invade, then not so much.
Well, yeah, that kind of power is scary.
Yeah. Then Callum Lyle says for $5 Australian, Grace Randolph is a result of, well, let's keep it civil. Corporate
Yeah.
sponsorships is plenty explanation. And then he says, also remember 28 Days Later. That movie budget was 8 million, and look what it did. Yeah, I'm looking forward to what the budget is going to be of the next movie here, which I'm sure is going to be tenfold that. So let's see how that one turns out. And Samuel Main has been a member for 3 months, and we're glad to have you. And Chaos Sonic 1 wonders what happened to Scott Mendelson. Well, he is no longer working for Forbes. He is now writing for The Wrap, where he continues to be himself, but at a much smaller stage. So to me, that doesn't seem like much of a promotion, now does it? And I don't know any more details than that.
Yeah. He he was, I don't know if he was fired or left Forbes, but he's been, I think he's wrote more independently for like The Wrap and a few other places. I don't know, he blocked me one day out of the blue, which is funny for all the crap I gave him. What he blocked me for over was pretty petty. I
Hey,
don't even remember what it was.
I do have another Twitter account, and I just read now. I don't participate at all. I am utterly shocked at what's on there in comparison to what I got banned with. I am every day. I'm going, really, that's okay. Anyways, I am a much better person mentally. My wife will tell you that I am much better off. I don't know Scott
Yeah.
Mendelson.
Yeah, he's a shill.
He's a person.
Mike and Ayers sends in $4.99, says Acolyte was never
Thank you.
defined at an ongoing or limited show. It seems the show was more concerned within working things into lore for post episode IX. That'd be what?
Yeah, it does feel that way.
22.
It's just rapidly. Has not been designed for an ongoing multi-year series. I said that in my green light or not. Why I wouldn't green light it, why I didn't as a former network executive. The one of the things that you talk about when you are pitched a show is, what is this thing going to look like in 5 years? And what kind of storylines are we going to evolve in that 5th year? And if you can't see a show being able to present interesting storylines even after 5 years, then you don't green light it. That's actually one of the exercises you go through. This thing here is, I don't know what it is. I don't know what their intent was, but I think Mike and Ayers, you're probably right. They're just trying to glue stuff together.
Yeah. And then we've got, let's see, Dark King. Are you here, Andre? Because he wants to know if Norwegians hibernate over the winter. I don't think so. I think they run around in the snow naked.
Yeah, that is indeed correct. We have saunas and stuff like that. So no, there's no hibernation over winter. The official Norway, the government, they hibernate over summer. Then we have something called Fellesferien, which is a summer vacation of sorts, basically. It's like 8 months where there's no public services or anything like that. So if anyone wants to invade us, please don't do it in summer, because we won't be able to mount a defense.
Well, it's like Italy too. Southern Italy, everyone goes on vacation.
This is a European thing. It's not uniquely Norwegian, but it's uniquely Nordic. The extent of the shutdown in summer vacation, and that's
Gotcha.
partially because we don't hibernate in winter.
I mean, I think that's kind of I think that's sane. Although a friend of mine tried to open a villa in Sicily and didn't realize that all their workers would disappear and they couldn't finish it off during the summer.
Yeah, no, especially if you're planning to do that in Italy, if you have like works that's being prepared, you want to prepare that 6 months in advance.
Yeah, she didn't know. She was completely sideswiped by that. Where'd all the
I hope she has time to wait the time and money to wait for the next season.
Well, she gave up. She had to sell it.
Oh yeah, exactly. So she had
and no matter how much money she offered, there was not an inducement for workers to stick around and finish the work. People wanted their vacation, which to a certain degree is sane. There's this thing in North America, especially Toronto. Toronto people work to work. That's what we do. And then YouTube has exacerbated all of that because suddenly everyone's afraid to take any kind of time off in case your channel views plummet. This is not a healthy lifestyle.
Well, that's exactly it. It's a lifestyle. Other jobs are jobs that you hopefully can connect off. If you are lucky enough to have a job that means that you now can afford to pay groceries, your mortgage, and everything like that for everyone out there who isn't independently rich, because not everyone is. For those that end up in this path, the way to consider it is that, this isn't a job, it's a lifestyle. And it's a lifestyle that doesn't afford traditional vacation.
Well, I did it just recently in my appalling news report. Amnesty International I think in Seattle is now offering jobs for permanent protesters who will march up and down the street for $10 to $30 an hour. It's got a 401k plan. You can get bonuses for bringing other people in, $200 for every other person you bring in. They've got health care. You become a protester, that you're being a paid anti-Israel protester.
Well, by any chance, when they are walking up and down the street, will they be getting brooms with them so they can do some swiping of the streets at the same time?
No,
none.
But they specifically say that you need to be able to walk up and down stairs in hills frequently. And you should be able to work on your own without another partner. And you have to be available at least 4 days out of the week between 1 and 8 p.m. regularly to get this job.
Benefits include
benefits. Yes.
Get out of a jail-free card.
You get full benefits. Amnesty International will pay you to be an anti-Israel protester.
Yeah, good times.
So there you go. There's a job with good benefits, and it looks like some time off.
Yeah, and also looks one with a very good future possibilities. The way things are going right now.
I think so.
Yeah. Moving on though, Truth, Hope, Love says for $4.99. Again, warm up for the debate we're about to have here. My dad wanted to not understand or underestimate Biden, and he saw that there was no spinning this. Trump looked a lot better. That has always been pro-T. And well, that's we'll get into.
We'll get into that. Your pal Anon sends in $4.99 and says, "I just want to hear angrily say, 'No, you can't, commie. No, you can't.'"
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's for me. Yeah, he's especially.
Or was that for you?
Yeah, because I said that in an editorial. I don't recall exactly which one right now. It was like I don't even remember what the topic was, but it was like written by some stupid activists who were basically saying, well, we can do this, we can do that. To which I responded, No, you can't, Commie.
Ah,
No,
yes.
you can't.
I saw that. Yes.
Yeah. I for the life of me, I can't remember which video it was right now. Because here's what happens with the videos. As soon as one is done, I'm already working on the next one, and then the previous one is pushed from my mind and just
Then
goes
again,
into the
you are
mass
usually
of the
pretty good at
1,000
remembering
previous
that
ones.
stuff.
Yeah, that's why I remember the context, but I don't remember the exact video. But I think it was like an Acolyte thing. It was one of the early Acolyte ones, I think.
You're just drunk on herring.
Yeah, maybe that's it. That's a never underestimate herring.
Me, on the other hand, I hear your voice in my sleep, so don't even ask me what video it was.
That's an occupational hazard.
Your pal Anon sends in another 49 just to point out that he wanted you to hear you say it, Andre. And thank you for that, your pal Anon.
Yeah, we appreciate the support.
John Eben Bear is in the house, and he sends in 5 Canadian bucks. Says Leslie Headland is the definition of literal catfish come to life. Well, I don't know. Did you guys see this story
What
about
does that mean?
Well,
I think I know what he's referring to.
Not too attractive to look at. I can.
That's a cheap.
Well, there's another point of it too. A catfish is somebody who tricks you. And I'm thinking this is referring to this story here. Or let me find it here. That's not the one I was looking for. Where'd it go? Where the guy who knew her for years come out and said, I don't know who this Leslie Headland is. She's fucking based. At least the one I knew. And basically is implying that she's putting on a facade in so many words. Or she's changed in
I've heard that.
I think this is what he's referring to. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Bone Tomahawk producer. Because he came out and he said Dallas Sonier press photo, blah, blah, blah. What's his name?
And he's basically the one that runs the Daily Wire film operation. So he is as based as it gets.
Okay, so he put out The Acolyte makes me sad on many levels. Star Wars is awesome, was awesome. That's why I call it Star Was. Discovered Leslie in a 15-seat theater on Santa Monica Boulevard back in 2007. Like Greta, I locked arms with this woman and forced Hollywood to pay attention to her. Leslie was so freaking based back then. She would have shit all over The Acolyte for its stupid gender motives and dumb physics like fire in outer space. I last saw her in 2017 and she was still her old self. But her reboot of Heathers, co-starring an even younger Brett Cooper, soon got canceled very publicly for all the wrong, dumb reasons. And it really shook her spirits. I saw her lean into modern victim mentality more with Russian Doll on Netflix, and really no turning back from there. Hey, look, we all get older. We all got to pay bills, and the world cracked. I get it. But it's just sad to see someone I managed for over 8 years and cared so much about become the very thing she and I would have mocked mercilessly for a decade. So yeah, I wonder if she's just one of these people that we always hear about where they're just putting on this woke facade to keep their jobs and keep work.
In her case, another motivator right there is that she was Weinstein's former assistant. So she has to virtue signal and really go down on her victimhood points extra deeply to get away from under that thing, so that no.
Part of the reason I think she went Leslie too.
Yeah. That she was Harvey's enabler. Only way to get from under that is no, she's just another victim. I think that has something to do with it.
You can tell she's a director because she's wearing the mandatory puffy winter jacket.
Even in summer.
Even in summer, doesn't matter.
And Rambam 3000 says for £5, Sargon of Akkad describes the Acolyte as cargo cult Star Wars, and he's absolutely right.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't seen this episode yet, so I obviously know what cargo cults are. I don't know exactly what he refers to, or like when he says cargo cult Star Wars, it's like what? So the only ones who follow Star Wars right now are like Pacific Islanders waiting for the next shipment. Is that's kind of like what he's saying? I don't know what he's saying there.
I'd have to listen to him. My assumption is that I mean, not uneducated people, but people who were not exposed to the technology of the West suddenly see this plane, right? And it's God. So the people who love the show are viewing it like they're a bunch of undiscovered islanders with little perception or understanding of the world at large, and they see this Star Wars episode and they think it's brilliant. That's
Okay, fine. Yeah, I can. Yeah, if that's what it means, yeah, I buy that.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
I'm only
we got
guessing.
we got a Rumble rant on the Rumble side of things from Kalekioki. That actually gets on a topic we wanted to talk about anyway. So, surprised how well Inside Out 2 did.
Yeah.
Did you provide a little insight into why? 6 months ago, weren't parents distrustful and on taking kids to a Disney movie? Were people that desperate for entertainment? Yeah, that's a good question. What happened between or what happened? What do you think the cause for the success of Inside Out 2 is? I have a few
that's
ideas,
not the question. The bigger question is, does Disney know what to do with its success?
No.
That's the question, because these
Actually, they're both they're both facets of the same question, really.
Well,
and I have a theory, but yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say that the thing is, these shows and movies are put into production 5 years ago. This thing was greenlit, right? And it just takes such a long time. So there's no rhyme or reason per se as to the success. No one can point to that and go, you know what, we had a bunch of failures, so we quickly started up the engine and we cranked out Inside Out 2 to try to get things going again. It doesn't work that way. So it's luck. I mean, even that the movie with the flaming and water people was not as horrendous as people made it out to be. It just wasn't very good. But this thing here, I don't know what this thing was not planned to be a success in the just when Disney needed it badly. You know what I mean? Because Disney did not expect to be in such a messy situation. This was not designed to save it.
I'm actually trying to find when this thing went into green light, because
it's going to hit $1 billion.
Well, the thing is when I remember first hearing about it, and I could be wrong, was when Bob Iger just dumped out a bunch of, we're getting this sequel, we're getting this sequel, and we're getting this sequel, and we're getting this sequel at that desperate shareholder call, remember?
Mm-hmm.
And I pointed out that there's nothing original. They didn't announce anything original. It's just a bunch of sequels. Okay, so here's my theory on this. I think that the reason this movie, the reason I think it's doing so well is word of mouth. I think that's the only reason it's doing well. Plus, there was a pent up want for kids to go see movies, and that's why I think Garfield did well, and If kind of had a bit longer legs than people expected it to after its dismal opening, because they actually had some kids movies that were decent after school let out. And I have a few theories on this why it did so well. Word of mouth helped. So the more people went to see it, I think the movie itself didn't wind up being as woke as it probably could have for one of two reasons. Either A, it was cut out of the movie when they panicked, or B, they just didn't have time. Much like Spider-Man No Way Home. Like I've pointed out time and time again, I bet you that movie would have been a lot more woke had they had the time to think about it. That movie got rushed into and through production so fast that people forgot, because that movie was a reaction to The Flash when they announced Michael Keaton was coming back. So they quickly got Toby and Andrew involved, came up with this concept, tossed out what the original part 3 was going to be. They put what little of it they had to in the beginning, and that's why they quickly wrap up that stuff from part 2 at the beginning, and then the rest of the movie is the other stuff. I think it's kind of a similar thing here. The other thing is that was pointed out, Mephisto, when he was on here the other day, when Andre was gone, he had noticed that all these schools in his area were taking the kids to Inside Out 2 on the last day of school. And the school was paying for it. So I wonder if this is a lot like the Black Panther situation, where I think the reason Black Panther did as well as it did is not only did people actually go see it, you had all these inner city programs that were sending kids to go see Black Panther as well, paying for the tickets. So I think that they're getting an extra boost from schools and other programs that are sending people to Inside Out too. The thing is, though, Disney doesn't pay for these tickets, right? It's not like they're, donating the tickets to these causes. Oh, hell no. These causes are paying for the tickets. It's the same thing they pulled with Black Panther, Captain Marvel, Shang-Chi, and the Marvels and a few other movies, right? Or at least they tried to with the Marvels. I don't know if they were very successful at that, but yeah. And this is where we've been talking about where people go, oh, you guys are full of crap. Nobody's buying tickets and they're not bumping up numbers and da-da-da-da-da. It's like, oh, yeah, then what are these campaigns about then? Because there was the Golden Open campaign for Shang-Chi, which is exactly what that was. It was to pay for tickets for people from, what was it, Chinese neighborhoods and shit like that to go see the movie and stuff.
That wouldn't have been increased the box.
It didn't help really, no. But Black Panther, and that's why I compared it to Black Panther. People actually went to see Black Panther. And I think the reason that Black Panther got that extra boost and why it did so well is because of the extra stuff on the other end. And I think Inside Out 2, because it's benefiting from word of mouth and these, whatever you want to call them, where the schools and such are sending the kids to Inside Out. And I even had somebody else reach out to me and said that, yeah, even one of their, they had like a work, like at work, they had a similar thing too, where people were able to go see Inside Out 2. And stuff like that. So it's like Disney's got to be pushing this shit through people.
Well, the first movie was successful, so people are going to hopefully trust what the sequel is going to provide.
I think that has a lot to do with it. Yeah,
and I've always said that premise trumps almost everything else. People have an innate radar for the premise of something. So, to use an example. Mad Max Furiosa, without Mad Max, the premise was not interesting. Doesn't matter how well the movie was created. People, and I know this from experience, performing to 100,000 people over my lifetime live, that sketches can be brilliantly written and get nothing. And then you go out and you do a sketch that the premise is interesting to the audience, they love it. Like, premise means everything. And then you just hope that you don't screw it up. That's really the key to it. So Inside Out 2, even I, in my mind, went, oh, I'd really like to see this. This looks interesting. Yeah. The reviews, I read the reviews only to make sure that they haven't tripped over their own feet. And if they haven't, then I'm going to go watch it. You know what I mean? So premise means a lot. And this movie is got just a ton of good high concept premise. No one else has done anything like this, right? No one is copying this movie. And so, it had a great shot. And the fact that they didn't screw it up, I think, is a testament to the creative people. What I want to know is, I believe the same writer who did the first movie wrote this one, but are the people who were involved in this, are they still around now? Or is has Pixar been denuded of talent prior to the release of this movie? Like, is there anybody left at Pixar that can pick up the ball and run with the success of this?
Pete Docter is, I think, the one. Yeah, he's like the only one. And Six sent this to me. Thank you so much. It actually was announced in September of 2022. So that kind of goes along with what I said. This movie was rushed, even though he had ideas as early as 2015. They announced it in September 2022. So that means they had just gotten started on it probably then. That means they bum rushed this thing in less than 2 years.
But the idea of this would have been floating around.
Yeah, that's what he said.
The company.
And then as far as the school thing, she sent me another story. Thank you so much, Six, that supports what I was saying. And there's even like a psychologist or something like that saying that her and her colleagues often use the original film as a learning tool to teach kids about emotions. So it's a movie that's still in the zeitgeist for a lot of these folks.
Well, not just that. They did the very clever thing where the first movie, there were a lot of people of the age of the main character of the first movie, and they've
I think it was Culture that brought that up, or somebody did. Yeah.
Now This movie actually is part 2 of their lives. Like if they had waited 10 more years for this movie, it wouldn't have succeeded.
They did what I said they should have done with
Yeah.
Toy Story 4 or Toy Story 3 and 4, actually, because my problem with Toy Story 3 and 4 was that Andy should have been like 10 years older than he really was in the movie, because they kind of smudged 10 years there.
But
At
3
that
was
point,
good. 4 sucked.
it was good, but my problem with 3 is like it should have been Andy's child. It shouldn't have been about Andy going off to college. It should have been Andy's child.
Yeah, that's a good
And
idea.
that's because that's what I don't like, is that he gave away the toys to somebody else's kid. So
Right.
Toy Story 4, I felt, had lacked any of the real emotion and substance the first 3 films did. And yeah, don't get me wrong, I still love Toy Story 3.
Right.
But the 4th film just felt like it undid a bunch of stuff that the first
that's
3
because
movies did. Yeah.
Because he came out as trans, but I mean, that's fine.
Yeah.
So, I mean, good for Pixar, but we had heard rumors that Pixar was now going to be absorbed into Disney Animation. They weren't happy. They were not making any, the movies were failing, Lightyear, et cetera, but I mean, again, that was at the behest of the Disney executives. It was no longer Pixar, I think, running their own show. And now this thing comes out. Is there anybody left that can carry this? Pete Doctorow, maybe, he's not the powerhouse creative person that everyone has maybe thought of him to be. And what's Disney going to do? Is this a blessing or a curse for Disney?
Yeah, that's a good question. Go ahead, Andre. Sorry.
It should be a blessing, because this should be a data point. Because now they have many data points of what does not work. And here they have a data point of what does work. Namely, something that is significantly closer to what they did before. Because I haven't seen this movie myself, but from everything I understand, to the extent of which there is any activism in it, it falls into the mostly harmless category. And beyond that, it's just a traditional Pixar movie. And it's rewarded with traditional Pixar money. That's a data point. A data point that Disney will ignore at its own perils. They should be very, very grateful for this data point. Because if this movie had flopped too, what would that tell them? Oh, it's just time to shut everything down and go home, basically. Whereas here, they have something that is more traditional, and it worked. And if they have been able to go back to what made the MCU great in the first place in Deadpool, even if we know that movie is a fluke, they're going to get another very valuable data point from that. And then they'll get even more data points from what comes next. Agatha All Along and Wonder Man and the upcoming Captain America 4, which we're about to talk about here, to say nothing of the Thunderbolts. All of these are going to provide data points that are going to be in stark contrast to Deadpool if they get Deadpool right. They should be happy about the Deadpool, because although those data points will tell them that what you have been doing is obviously wrong and it's not in the keeping with audience preferences, here's the roadmap to get back to where you were.
Well, the roadmap has to the roadmap has to include making things that people are initially curious and interested in, which none of the except for Wolverine and Deadpool, I'm not interested in. None of the other things that you mentioned to me are concepts that are interesting. Again, it goes back to this wonderful story about Samuel Zarkov, who made all these horrible creature movies. Not horrible, wonderful B movies in the great era of Hollywood B movies. He would only greenlight something if they made a good poster. They said, show me the poster for this movie. It's a creature carrying a woman in a yellow dress where parts of the dress has been ripped off. Okay, we're making that one.
Yeah, that's actually not a half bad approach. I mean,
right.
I've heard worse.
It's a canon approach.
Yeah, it's really about the premise. None of the premises that you mentioned, other than the Deadpool one, I don't think anyone cares. This is the problem with Disney. It's really quite simple.
I mean, here's the thing, though. I've only met this phenomena with this film, though. Again, I'm not totally sold on the idea that it's not getting a boost from
How?
from the schools and other people going to see it, because it's like the Avatar all over again. I haven't really met but maybe one or two people that have met it or seen it, and it's only online. Not in my real life have I met anybody yet who's seen it. I've had a few people ask me about it, because that's usually what they do when there is interest in something. Because they'll come to me and go, well, "What did you heard about this?" Or do you think it's any good? Because yeah, like, and I think that's another reason why it's doing better than the average Disney film, is because people are saying, yeah, it's not woke, or it's not crap, or it's not junk, or it's not like the other films. But I don't know anybody who's seen it besides like Culture Casino and the WDW guys, right?
But you don't hit $1 billion.
I know, and that's the thing with Avatar too, though. I still have yet to meet. That was the thing. I just don't see where people are going.
The movie is clicking for those watching it.
It is clicking.
It's a very female-heavy audience in it,
and that's the split I've seen. Is like, because like all the people that are men that have seen it, they've said, yeah, it's decent. But like the ladies, like the few of the ladies I think that's seen it in the Toxic Femme DM group and stuff like that talk about it, they were gushing over it. Right. So here's the thing. So that's just it. And it's kind of like with Barbie and certain other projects that, that as long as you play to the audience that wants to see this, they will be happy. And that kind of gets us to the other.
It was clever that Inside Out 2 partnered up with My Doll as a sponsor. and I think it also points to Turning Red, where they just pushed the edge of, like, this is similar to Turning Red, but this is just sort of pre-Turning Red in terms of a girl's life.
That's kind of what it's been compared to, just not as
Red pushed
on the nose.
Pushed the edge of it a little bit too far over the edge. There's many aspects of Turning Red I really love, which.
But so to move on with the news, though, because this kind of leads us to the Captain America bit, because I've heard this from several people now, including some of my own whisper people, whatever you want to call it in the background, that Disney is kind of learning a little bit, at least everybody but Lucasfilm. Like, we keep hearing that Lucasfilm is on this island of its own. Kathleen Kennedy is queen there. She can do whatever she wants. And she is not budging from this woke business. But we're hearing constant reports, at least I am, I don't know about you, Andre, but hearing constantly that Disney is trying to right the ship, especially Marvel has, quote unquote, learned its lesson.
What I have
Feige is licking his wounds.
Marvel is the bigger priority, because Star Wars is already largely considered a lost cause. It's like, but they can still fix Marvel. Marvel is less far gone than Star Wars is.
Well, my point was I was going to get to is that even though we've joked and made fun of the fact that, my initial joke about the reshoots of Captain America 4, where, because they said, oh, we're not doing that much, we're just reshooting 3 major scenes or whatever. I'm like, yeah, act 1, 2, and 3. and now they're going back for another round of reshoots, which gets us to the top story of the day. I'm curious, though, if this round of reshoots has more to do with trying to fix the image of this movie, trying to make it good in some way, whatever way that could be. I don't know, but they've got to put this movie out no matter what, right? We know that's the problem. They're stuck putting it out. McDonald's has already put the toys out. They're long gone. They've moved on to something else. I don't know if they're doing Inside Out 2 or something else now, but point being, this movie's going to come out come hell or high water. Is it going to suck? Because it's one of the next big Marvel movies post Deadpool.
Well,
probably yes.
I heard rumors that even Acolyte was practically reshot from start to finish. So they're throwing money at everything.
Well, that's Disney's way of fixing things. We've learned that. That's their MO, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If something's not working, throw more money at it. Yeah.
You can say that they're throwing money at it. That's one way of putting it. Another is they're flushing money down the drain. Because when you look at these projects that they're throwing money out, by the time they come out, all of these projects, they don't work anyway.
Well,
and I have no doubt that Captain America 4, when it comes out, even though it is 2 full movies removed, from what it originally started out as, is probably still going to be a disaster.
Oh yeah, I don't have any notions that it's going to be any kind of hit or actually decent. But my point, at least I was asking, or what I think is happening, is I think we're getting to this point where they know they've got to right the ship and they've got to fix it. Why would they do another round of reshoots unless there was a desperate, like, let's fix this somehow, some way, some form to make it worthwhile? Because I mean, otherwise, why would you go to another round of reshoots? Just get it out there and get it over with, like a funeral at this point. You know what I mean? Like, the toys have already been brought out by McDonald's. There's no sense in, like, move on to the next thing. Shit, I'd have buried it somewhere between Deadpool and something else that you know is going to hit. Or I'd have said, you know, actually, well, that's the thing, is they're stuck releasing it. What's sad is they can't even chop it up and put it on Disney Plus, right? Because that's what Script Doctor and I keep telling people about these things. This is why The Flash had to get released. They have set deals in place years in advance in some cases to where they cannot just yank these movies. The reason Batgirl was an exception to the rules was it was not finished. Plus, it was originally set up for streaming and stuff like that. And the same thing goes for the other movie they dumped, the Looney Tunes movie thing. It was a set to be a streaming film, so there wasn't the same deals set in place there would be for a movie that was going to a theater. But I think that Marvel is in desperation mode. Because, I mean, I don't know if you've been reading a lot of the stories that have been out there, because, of course, they're doing the whole rounds for Deadpool now, because that's coming out in a few weeks. I mean, we're finding out that Deadpool 3 was dead in the water, as we reported, for the longest time. And it was Hugh Jackman who basically got it back online, regardless of what Kevin Feige thought. And now this is going to be their big movie of the year. I think it's going to be the only movie that's going to beat Inside Out this year. And then today, this dropped, another trailer. Don't tell me this isn't desperation move to get fans into even though they know that people are going to go see this. I mean, check this out.
Oh my God. Sabretooth, ready to die. Wait. Time! You look ridiculous. People have waited decades for this fight. It's not going to be easy. Maybe nice. You shoot the double, you take him down. Side control, then full mount, and you ground and pound till he makes no sound because he's dead. Shut the fuck up. Oh my God. Okay, good luck. I'm a huge fan.
So, see, they're definitely trying to get our attention.
And it's working. It's working.
Like I said, I can see Paul's face. Yeah.
Oh, you should see mine.
I can imagine.
They're just enjoying each other's company so much. It's Bing Crosby and Bob Hope. It's a road movie.
And I think that's what's going to make this movie work, Paul, is their chemistry.
Well, so again, premise, execution. The premise is going to get people into the theater first weekend. We want to see
in this case.
Pardon me, what?
First day.
First day. Yes, yeah. It's the 25th. It opens on the 25th of July, and already the pre-sale is huge.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
although this is not my favorite Sabretooth, that's one of the few things I do like about the Wolverine origin movie.
Yeah,
is Liev Schreiber's Sabretooth.
Oh, it was great.
Oh God, that scene in the bar
was fantastic.
Yeah, oh God, yes.
That was really good. They really nailed Sabretooth in that movie, but we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, this gave me like the goosebumps, you know, the fanboy goosebumps. I'm not gonna lie. It was like, and, you know, we were Deadpool in that scene, right? Like, we have been waiting for this rematch for a while.
Yeah. And yeah, the best comics are always winking to the audience, even when they're serious. And Marvel has lost that, and this has kind of brought that back. I mean,
well, and there's another thing here. Like, I was never the biggest X-Men fan. Like, I like them a lot. They're good. They're cool. You know, whatever. I only had 2 X-Men toys as a kid. Sabretooth and Wolverine.
Oh, yeah.
Those are the only 2 I had.
Well, Wolverine was great because he's always on the edge of killing things, and everyone was saying, "No, you don't kill him." You know?
Exactly.
Everyone was yelling at him because he's out of control. Cyclops
Yeah.
was the worst. Well, Jubilee. Like, what can you do with Jubilee?
She was always a fan favorite, though. But thank you, Six, for giving me the heads up on that clip there.
Hey, Six. Haven't seen you
She's
in a while.
watching and sending us some stuff today.
I love you, Six.
Yeah, Andre. So, what do you think about Captain
Six.
4?
Yeah. About Deadpool here. You mean the movie? I think it was going to.
Well, that and Captain America 4 will kind of wrap up this whole segment.
Yeah,
we don't care about Captain America 4.
It's going to be a disaster.
No, nobody
All the
does.
money they're wasting, it's just wasting money. Like now, it's probably going to have a negative cost of. I mean, it's going to need $1 billion to break even, and it's not going to get.
The budget's got to be in the 300 or more range now.
Yeah, because even if it's been remade now several times over, the problem is that it comes from the same brain thrust that destroyed the MCU in the first place. They could fix it, but they could destroy it, but I don't know that they have it in them to fix it because they're not in the right headspace to do that, which is why I don't trust that this movie is going to do anything good for the MCU. I mean, this comes from the same people that gave a Secret Invasion.
Oh, that was horrific. That was beyond horrific.
That's what I imagine. Fine. Imagine that they had remade that 3 times, but from the same people and still hitting the same major beats, just remade 3 times over.
Well, they're so desperate. They're so desperate to fill in their DEI quotient that they turned Captain America black. And now let me qualify that. I mean, technically, I don't care, but they had a really good charismatic character, Anthony Mackie as Falcon, right? Which I loved the character because he wasn't a super. And he had gear. I mean, again, this is my gear porn thing. He was very similar to Iron Man. Iron Man had no innate powers. He just had his gear. So if you just had Anthony Mackie, Sam Wilson, with his, with the stuff that he had available, his wings and everything else, then you have a human level superhero, which is exactly what we need. And he's a very charismatic actor. And he's less interesting as Captain America. Everyone's going to compare him to Chris, and he's going to come short.
Yeah,
they should have just left him as Falcon. Like, I don't get it.
How do you write a Captain America movie with a captain with no serum, so he has no powers?
Yeah, exactly.
We've all been saying it, Thunderstorm. It makes logic. It made so much logical sense to have Bucky be the new Captain America, but why?
It makes
Because they were insistent on having it be a black Captain America, despite the fact that Falcon already had his own thing.
Yep.
And as I've pointed out before, he was one of the more prominent black superheroes. In fact, I have a famous poster where I'm pretty sure Kirby did the art on, where it has a bunch of Marvel characters on it, and he was one of the few that made the cut. Which, I mean, hey, that's a big deal. Black Panther and him were on that along with Storm. So, I mean, and the poster was made either late 60s or, it had to be like early 70s, mid 70s, something like that. You could tell just by the look of it. So, like, maybe a little later, depending. But yeah, I mean, he's been around for a long time. He was, as far as I know, the first black superhero, major Marvel superhero, even before Black Panther, if I remember correctly. That's why I wish Clobby was here. He'd correct me in the chat. But yeah, so no, I have no faith in
Marvel. Also, as we know, killed off Black Panther. They should have just kept him going, and then you could have had Falcon and Black Panther doing some ghetto fun,
Oh, I wanted a black exploitation movie with
along
Luke
with
Cage,
Cage. The 3 of them, like.
Oh, I've told you before that Tarantino.
I would watch that.
Tarantino wanted to make a black exploitation Luke Cage movie way back in the early.
Oh, that would have been great.
And they wouldn't let him.
See, no, but if you the guy who played Cage was fantastic. Unfortunately, the guy who played Black Panther, who was also very good, died. But I mean, you could have replaced him and then put him in with Falcon, with Anthony Mackie. It would have been. I mean, that again, the premise of that I think is really interesting, and I would at least be initially intrigued by that. Disney does not are not showmen. That's the problem I have. That's what was really good with Stan Lee, is that he just moved these little chess pieces around because, okay, well, we'll put this and this together. Oh, yeah, people will love that. Just the idea of it, people will love. You need to get the idea first. Disney are just not showmen. They're not show people or whatever you want to show. It's show thems.
Showers.
Showers. Yeah.
I don't know.
They're just not having
showy
fun.
would be the one who's
They're
receiving.
just not having fun in this entertainment business.
Well, and
It's
that's
called
why I think
entertainment,
Deadpool.
doesn't gotta- yeah.
And that's why I think that's going to do well. Is because it feels like it's going to be fun.
Yeah. Like,
And that's
what?
why Bad Boys 4 did good. And then people
Right.
go, well, because a lot of people ask me, like, why do you think it did so well, especially considering Will Smith and all that business? It's like, because it was fun. Because the trailers promised you it was going to be fun.
Yes, correct.
And it was the first movie in a long time where I saw the movie and not every great scene was in the trailer. In fact, the best jokes were saved for the movie. Like, you know, so that's a rarity. We haven't had that in years. And people were asking me about Twisters last night, and I come out and said, I think it's going to do really well. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, I think it's going to do really well. And I said, because it's a disaster movie. Americans love disaster movies. Why do you think there's 4 or 5 airport movies? There's Earthquake, there's Tower Inferno, all these things we used to have back in the day. Jaws was the perfect movie. Why? Because it was a monster movie meets a disaster movie. Because if we can see the White House blown up, we're there. You know, it's like, that's what we're all about. So guess what? Twisters, regardless of it being a sequel to a 30-year-old movie, nobody's going to give a shit. Everybody's going to show up because it's like a disaster movie, and it's what we haven't had in years. We haven't had a good disaster movie since what? I mean, we had that sequel to Independence Day, but that was...
Well, we also had those, that boat that flipped
Poseidon.
over.
Yeah, well, they
Poseidon.
had the remake. They had that era. Because that was kind of like, that's what I was saying, like, because Independence Day 2 kind of came out of that, but Independence Day 2 didn't capture the disaster movie feel like the first movie did.
Well, the rule of the disaster movie is to fill it full of every existing star.
Movie stars, yep.
That was the key to it. Oh my God, look at that old lady who, oh my God, it's Betty Grable. It's that was the brilliance of it.
And this is a mistake about Beverly Hills Cop 4. Everybody keeps asking about that. Well, guess what? It's coming to Netflix. You can see it in less than a week on Netflix. Big mistake. I think Netflix should have been smart and put it out in theaters for a few weeks. Because people want to see it.
Yep.
Well, you're going to get your chance to see it real soon. And yeah, so let's keep moving here. We got anything more to say about Captain America? I think we've tapped out on Cap.
They just don't get how to make money.
Well, and I've said the real Captain...
find out how to lose a ton of them in Captain America.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Well, I think the Thunderbolts is going to do worse even. Unless they come up with some gimmick to get people's butts in the seats for that one. I'll tell you right now, because we all know the
Thunderbolts is going to gross less, but Captain America is going to lose more because of its much higher budget.
That you're probably right about. Absolutely. I mean, really, the Captain America 4 we all want to see is Captain America putting back the stones over those 100 years or whatever it was.
Between the two, I have no doubt that between Thunderbolts and Captain America, they're gonna lose close to $1 billion on those two movies.
Yeah, that's why I'm starting to believe the rumors that they're trying to get Robert Downey Jr. back for, what is it, Secret Wars? Or not Secret Wars, Final Wars, or whatever it was. Was it Secret Wars? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I keep forgetting. Secret Invasion was the other one, yeah.
So that's behind it.
Let's get back into Super Chats here. On the note of Captain 4, Chaos Sonic 1 sends in 10 smackaroos. Says, I say it again. They should just scrap Captain America 4 and Blade as a tax write-off. Because even if this came out, the trust is gone, and there's so much bad news. What's the point of it even? Well, you know, Blade probably won't happen yet. We don't even know for sure. I've been hearing so many rumors about Blade falling apart. Like, I don't know if you've heard anything new, Andre. I've been hearing for a while that even Mahershala Ali has walked away.
It's already collapsed. I mean, just don't pick it up again. They don't have what it takes. If they can't figure out that a Blade movie, that is something that you conceptualize in 10 minutes, you write over the course of the weekend, you sign the deals, and you shoot the thing in a month. That's a
shoot it just like they did the Daredevil series.
Exactly. That's how you do it. And like Mr. Rage suggested, you basically just rip off Raid, and that's how you do it. There's your Blade movie. They can't figure that out. They're better off not doing it.
Yeah, you're wrong. You're not wrong. Like basically Raid or Judge Dredd, you just have a building that's
same basic formula.
Well, and then the big mistake is trying to make Blade an A movie. The charm of it is that it's a B or C movie.
It's a C movie. That's what it is.
It's got to be shot like that.
It needs to
the
be
more
shot.
gloss it has, the worse it's going to be.
Yep.
Yeah. They're just it's the true definition of like, you know, cutting you off your own nose despite your face. It's like, how hard does it have to be? Like the Friday the 13th business. Like, how hard is it? Really?
I don't think
You're
you
making
can
it
kill
more
vampires
difficult.
by cutting off their nose, though.
No, that's true. And by the way, Tennille likes your shirt.
Thank you. Highway 17.
17. I'm
North
wearing
of Superior.
I'm wearing my Monster Squad shirt today.
Yep. North of Superior.
There you go. And then we've got Dark Kings who says, "Do Norwegians dream of electric sheep, though, Andre?" That's a good question.
Only the ones who live in the West, like Bergen and stuff like that. That's big sheep territory. I mean, they have like sheep for Christmas. I mean, they just eat the heads of the sheep. It's small all over. Check it out. Where I'm from, in the east of the country, we dream of electric pork.
Yeah, I just drew a brain fart. What is the question that Harrison Ford asks every time in the Blade Runner movie?
In Blade Runner?
Yeah, one of the main question that is it like, do you remember your dreams or do you dream or something? I can't remember now. I'm drawing a blank. It's been a while, but anyway, yeah, the whole setup there. Yeah. SFX F314 Sabretooth Raptor sends in 5 and says, Star Wars is not swirling into a massive pool with Star Wars is now swirling in a massive whirlpool with no way out, much like Mexican Iron Man and Elf. Mexican Iron Man can't get away from Elf and now Smurfs. You guys are going to make him hate Smurfs for no good reason.
Poor Mexican. Poor Mike.
Like, he doesn't even have anything against Smurfs.
That he sends their way. I mean, yeah, it's like Mexican government.
I hate Smurfs. Josh Hammond sends in a member chat and says, AI Andres, I still love your review of Jaws the Revenge. You seem very passionate about how much you hated it. Go forth in the name of Olympus. You actually played the entire thing on Mead.
Did you release that?
No, I played it on Mead Radio, though.
Yeah, because I was like, I don't remember doing a review on
No, I didn't release it yet.
Yeah, well, you don't. This is the one where I sound Swedish,
Our story
right?
follows Ellen Brody, who believes that a shark is targeting her family out of revenge.
Yeah, I sound Swedish.
Like it's the Godfather and they massacred his boy. The shark has a vendetta. I'm no marine biologist, but not so sure that's how the Force works. But then again, considering how many sharks the Brody family has killed, the shark may have a point. They have single-handedly killed more sharks than global warming to this point, so I can see why he would have a vendetta for the Brody family. And speaking of vendettas and the Brodys, this shark has a GPS for the Brody family. It follows them from the icy waters of Amity Island to the Bahamas. Yes, the Bahamas. My GPS can't get me to a fucking gas station, but this shark can find the fucking remaining Brodys on Earth no problem.
For those wondering, is Andre an AI? Well, there you have the difference between AI Andre and real Andre right there. So yeah, AI Andre needs a GPS. I don't.
That's what happens when Tom takes control of Andre. Yeah, the shark's like, fuck these Brodies. Yeah. So yes, Josh enjoyed that quite a bit. I Cthulhu's in the house and sends in 5 and says, Andre, vehemently recommend listening to the best metal album made in the 80s, if not top 5 ever, Crimson Glory, Transcendence, Decades Ahead. That's the one I think it is. Yeah, it's all right. It's pretty good.
I shall check it out. I have not heard that one. Crimson Glory, Transcendence. Okay, well, we shall see if this truly is the top metal album made in the 80s. I look forward to it. So yeah, challenge. Crimson Glory, Transcendence.
I think they used some Crimson Glory in Clerks 2, if it wasn't.
Oh, I'm a big metalhead. I'm going to check it out too.
Yeah, you're into Quiet Riot. The kids love the
No.
Quiet Riot.
Not into Quiet Riot.
Markson 117B sends in $1.99, says the element used was frick, greatest of elements.
For in
Acolyte, I think.
Acolyte, yes, that's what I heard too. I'm a Nightwish fan.
The bonus holes is here and sends in $20. Well, thank you. Says the Disney guy on camera saying they are discriminating is correct about Elon. He doesn't care about free speech. Our band has been wrongfully permabanned on X since April, with all appeals denied or ignored. Free at the bonus holes. Oh, well, what happened?
Well,
Did
that's
you?
Well, you know what? I disagree with the perma banning. I mean, we have Paul here, who is also perma banned on X, which is also complete bullshit. So I'm not saying that things are perfect on X. I am, however, saying that they are better than they were, and that the dude in that tape was disingenuous in his criticism. That I stand by.
The woke gatekeepers have crept back in.
This is the problem.
I have seen it.
Has become more like it was before.
Yeah, it is. It has become more like it was before.
Because Paul, what got you banned now is the same thing that would have gotten you banned before, and I don't know the exact reasons why the bonus holds got banned, and I wish you weren't, no matter what it is. But probably it's the same thing. Whatever was the cause of it would have gotten you banned before as well, and then unfortunately, it is some of the previous things that have crept back in.
And I revealed to you what got me banned, and it's
I did, and it was actually kind of hilarious.
It was like it was childish banter, rude childish banter. So
that would have been perfectly okay if you had said it to me or Tom.
Yes,
because
I said it to a protected food group.
Exactly.
That's what you did. I mean, and I will say this much. I agree with you, bonus holes. It's not perfect. But in this, ever since Elon has taken over, I have gotten in trouble like, 3 or 4 times. And of those 3 or 4 times, I've been able to appeal and get out of trouble. I never got an appeal, never won an appeal prior to that. So I will say that, the system's not perfect, but it's working a little bit better. But I also do keep bugging him to let Paul out of X jail.
Well, I mean, I posted them back and I gave it one shot. I said, look, I'm happy to delete the Twitter posts that I wrote that were insulting, but nope, can't do that. You do not get a second chance for what I did. But I don't care. It's okay. My sanity has greatly improved since being off Twitter.
But everyone else hasn't. You know what I think? I think a big problem there is probably Linda Yaccarino, who is formerly the CEO of X. Remember?
She's a very he brought her on.
Retail ran it for the first few months when he prevented it from going under, which was at risk there. And when when it was under control, it was actually earning money, which from everything I can observe, it does. Because it is growing massively. And advertisers are coming back again. So I think he did turn it around. Then he handed over to Linda Yaccarino, which was a very controversial choice at the time.
That was interesting.
He's all free speech, and he chose someone with ties to the WEF. Now suddenly we see some of the old moderation practices creeping back in again. I think that might be what's going on there. And I'm not defending that. Not at all. I think that Musk probably did a bad choice when it came to appointing her. And I agree that it's more so because I think that if Elon Musk had the time and opportunity to personally review your case, Chato, you wouldn't have been banned. And I'm pretty sure that the same is true for the bonus holes. Now, Linda Yaccarino personally reviewing yourself, I'm not saying that she did, but if she had,
I don't think she has the time.
I don't think so either. But if she did, I think she'd be like, "You said this of a protected group. How dare you? You're never coming back again."
That's right.
Because that would be in keeping with her past positions. If we put it that way.
What's
And she's the
funny
one in
is
charge of content moderation.
what's funny is that it was no worse than what this individual, this protected group actually say to each other in a jocular way, right?
Yeah.
So I don't care. I'm completely fine. My conscience is clear, but that's because I use drugs.
And also because you're sane. But yeah,
I think so. Relatively sane.
Yeah, different matter altogether. Moving on with the super chats, because we have another topic before we start losing panelists here. Wow, we have a pretty good collection here. STR Red Wolf says for $5, Paul, are those protesters unionized? I hear Philadelphia has a bullying union.
They didn't mention unionization in the amnesty proposal. I have it. I have the actual document. So they don't mention unionized, but they seem to be, being paid well enough. What can I say?
Yeah, well, Soros has a lot of money. Thunderstorm says for $4.99, I will never understand how the good writing vanishes in live-action Star Wars compared to Tales of the Jedi, for example. Well, one gets more oversight from less talented people than others. And then John Evan Bear says for $5 Canadian, Andre, have you heard of the band System of a Down?
Yeah.
I have. Not a big fan. That's not quite my brand of metal right there. Like, I love metal, but not all metal is equal. Also joining us for our final topic, which we're about to get to very soon here, is Mike the Mexican Iron Man. How's it going?
Well, fine. I don't know why people. I don't know why people say I got a problem with Smurfs. I don't. I don't care about Smurfs. Smurfs don't.
That's what I said. They're gonna make you start hating Smurfs. They keep it up.
Nah, I'm indifferent. I could care less. I don't.
Okay, cool. We're going to run through the remaining super chats here and get to the final topic. Bucky Cat has been a member for 15 months. We're glad to have you. And he also donated 5 memberships. Thank you so much. And Jesus Davila donated 10 memberships, which is fantastic. Thank you so much for that. Lord Akita has been a member for 22 months, which is awesome. And John Doe has been a member for 6 months and says, the reason I dislike Deadpool is because he's like Bugs Bunny. Bugs Bunny is great in Looney Tunes, but I don't want to see him in a James Bond film. This is true, but I don't think that a Deadpool movie is quite a James Bond movie, though. Like, he's not going to be popping up in Captain America: The Winter Soldier anytime soon, as if Marvel had the capacity of making anything like that. And Kelechi Oki also donated 1 membership. Thank you so much. And Big Daddy MRI has been a member for 37 months, saying, enjoying this stream so much. Thanks for a great discussion. Oh, thanks for being here. And we're only getting started. And Rambam 3000 says for £5, I wonder what Michael Mann would make of Marvel street level characters if you let him treat it as a crime drama.
Fantastic. It would be.
He's the man behind Miami Vice, for those that may not know the name.
No, not just that, but he did a show. He had that actually influenced almost every single cop show afterwards. It only lasted 1 year because it was so expensive on ABC, but had Michael Farina in it, and each season was 1 book, and they traveled all over the place, and it was expensive to do, and so they canceled it because it was expensive. But oh my God, I can't remember the name of the show. Maybe somebody in the chat remembers, but it was gritty. It was fantastic. It was a highly influential TV show. I think Michael Farina is the correct name of the actor.
Yeah, well, that sounds fantastic.
Took place in Philadelphia.
Michael Mann, brilliant guy. I would love to see him take.
Yeah, that's exactly
how
who
you
you
fix
want to
it.
give the reins
That
to.
is how you fix Marvel and Disney Plus. You basically hand the Punisher, Daredevil, stuff like that.
Yes.
To Michael Mann. That's how
Yeah.
you do it.
There you go.
Miguel Farah says, should I send Mexican Iron Man my old Smurfs comics?
Who started that? Like, I do not. Okay, see that guy over there, that Alf motherfucker? Okay, I hate him. Okay, that is a problem. I don't care about Smurfs. You might as well, like, bring up, like, I don't know, Teddy.
Okay, so Miguel, you heard him. No, you shouldn't send him your old Smurfs comics. You should send him your old Alf comics.
No, don't do that.
Send them to me.
No.
Hey, I have my old Richie Rich Connect collection. That's I wouldn't consider that superhero comic stuff, but I used to like Richie
See,
Rich.
talking shit like that, Andre, gets me sent shit like this.
See, there you go.
That's awesome. Do you have the expensive one with the seal?
Fuck, I don't know. There's a bunch of them up here. Fuck, I don't know. People
send them to me then. Jesus.
What do you mean the expensive one? I don't know. Here's one. When was this done? 1980 what?
The one where he's on the cover with the seal.
There's more. Fuck, I don't know. They're around here.
The one where he's on the cover looking like he's fucking a seal. That one's worth a bunch of money.
I don't.
You'd know it if you saw it.
You know it if you saw it.
I don't have it then, because that's
not a bunch of money, but it's worth the most of all the Elf ones.
I throw them away, but people have actually sent me this. I feel guilty, but
don't throw them away. You keep them. You destroy any Elf stuff, I will be very upset with you.
I actually have what they used to give away at Big Boy restaurants.
Oh, nice.
This was a comic book they gave away.
See,
back
those
in
might
the
actually
60s.
be worth something.
Pardon me, what?
Those might actually be worth something.
You know what? It just might. It's so funny.
No, you'd be surprised. Like the stuff that comes from like those limited type of things. They actually, because it gets tossed so easily and thrown away and discarded.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe
we just had this discussion the other night about why certain things are worth more than others, and how basically things like the death of Superman killed comic collecting and stuff. And
see that's
the multiple covers and all that shit.
Occupy a kid at the restaurant than handing them your iPhone to play some.
Indeed, but we have to move on.
Keep going. Sorry.
The Grand Admiral Adams has released the whole thing, Tom. And there's the cover we were talking about. And so, see now, Mike, that's the comic for you right there.
Oh boy, that is scary.
Yeah, I mean, criticize.
That's completely sexually.
What's fun is that it's Marvel.
That is so sexually inappropriate.
That's a seal of approval.
Did we read that one that was on screen,
yes,
Andre?
I just did.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so Bonus Holes sends in an extra 20. Speaking of bonus holes, we got banned for expressing pro capital punishment views for corrupt politicians and for a helicopter rides joke. Oh, okay. I think I know where you're going with this. We didn't threaten anyone. We didn't engage in incitement. We expressed views. They called it violent speech.
Yeah, that's bullshit. But again, that sounds like a Lino decision. And again, that's the same thing that I have done. Like, I wish a French Revolution upon certain Norwegian politicians. So yeah, I get where you're coming from right there. And they also says, contact us. We can give more details. That's super chat.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, you can always reach out to me on X.
Yeah, you contact us if you want to share more details.
No, they can't reach out on X.
Oh, that's right. You can email us. Actually, the email info is in our abouts. So check that out.
Yeah, exactly.
That was pretty funny.
Wesley sent us a Rumble rant. Wesley 1924 for $5 says,
just start heading over to that Rumble. I'm going to put the Rumble link because we're about to go Rumble exclusive here.
Go rumbling.
So if you don't have the link, just go to our X right now. So we're talking about it. There's the
I think that's why Mikey's here. He knows what we're going to get into.
Yeah,
I have no fucking clue what you're about to get into.
Oh, you really didn't? You came in for other reasons then, probably. So
Jonas Campbell sent me a link that Disney stock is down $4.
Oh, why?
Awesome.
Link is in the
considering
chat.
They got a big, huge hit. But anyway, as I was reading, Wesley from 1924 on Rumble Size says, what I'm hearing from Chato is they should have made Iron Black Man Iron Man black instead of Captain America.
Well,
yeah, Iron
they've
Black
done that in
Man.
the comic books. There is a black Iron Man.
That is true. There is. For instance, in the Civil War comic book event, that wasn't Tony Stark that went there. It was, I forget the name of the character, but it was his black bodyguard or something like that who went there.
Oh yeah,
Guess what happened right before this stock dropped?
That's my question. Yeah.
Go to the next link I just put.
Oh, let's see.
Fortune magazine reproduced something we already knew and heard about over the past week. But this time, Fortune put it on their website. Click on the next link I put.
I hit the wrong thing. I'm getting there.
Yeah.
I tried to make it easier for myself, and I just made it harder for myself. That's all.
Yeah. But meanwhile, while you're getting it, I'll just cheat a little bit for the audience. What Mike sent us. Yeah, here we go. Fortune magazine. So this is read by all of the people that basically decide the Disney share price, and they read the headline. Elon Musk slams Lucasfilm president for being woke, saying she is more deadly than the Death Star. And then I'm sure there's plenty more detail because he didn't send just one, he sent several X's going on about how, yeah, here we go. Basically saying she's more deadly than the Death Star and that she's super bigoted against men. And he also lambasted Disney CEO Bob Iger for not firing Kennedy, saying it's beyond parody at this point. And anyone who just tunes in to see The Acolyte, which is hot on Disney Plus right now, will see exactly what she's talking about. And speaking of, where are the numbers? Where are the numbers? We're now on episode 5 of The Acolyte. Where the hell is Disney Plus bragging about the numbers? They need to be bragging about that every new week.
Andre, check out the timestamp of that Elon Musk article. Scroll up and look at the timestamp.
The timestamp of that is Friday, June 28th at 4:21 Greenwich Mean Time,
which is 11:21 Eastern Time. So now I am going to go to the other. I'm going to share my screen. Now check this out. We'll look at Midnight Sage after. Look at Midnight Sage in the morning, providing its viewers with live analysis. All right, right here, it is 11:19 a.m. What I'm showing, that line that goes north and south, right? That's 11:19 a.m. All of a sudden, that article comes out 11:21. Here's what starts happening at 11:23. It fell off a cliff 2 minutes later, and it's still going down. You see that?
Well deserved. And if only, did they put how expensive the Acolyte was and how Star Wars is still, or the Lucasfilm acquisition is still technically in the red a decade in?
I don't know about that. I didn't read the article that you put up yet. So
because they really should do that if they haven't, because then this thing needs to. But they do bring up here that it spawned lesbian space witches. So here we go. It's right here in the article. I'm reading out loud right now. Kennedy has headed Lucasfilm at Disney since the film studio was acquired. Disney, oh no, they're lying. Disney made back its $4 billion investment in George Lucas Studio by 2018, 6 years after the acquisition closed. It has been dubbed one of the smartest acquisitions in history by analysts, despite some missteps. So basically, they are lying to their viewers here.
Right, they are. However, I think the thing is that what strikes me interesting about this is that although the article, first of all, they're printing the headline that says Elon Musk slams Lucasfilm for being woke, saying it's more deadly than the Death Star. Within the context of the article, they're defending Disney and making excuses, but they still covered it. So this is what's known in journalism as a passive-aggressive hit piece. They have the hit out there, which is the headline.
Right.
And they know shit screwed up, so that's kind of them covering themselves. But because they're a bunch of beta-ass, bitch-ass shills, they're trying to make some say, well, no, we kind of buried some excuses in kind of, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, the fact that their toy sales have fallen off a cliff and are now non-existent is irrelevant.
So what I think this means is that holy shit, I think this company is finally maybe being held to task. And I don't know if the O'Keefe stuff has anything to do with it. I don't know if it's just this thing. I don't know what it is, but the resiliency does not. In the middle of the success, I heard you guys talking about the success of that movie. There's no reason this stock should be going down right now from a historical perspective of Disney. Because
it's got to be all because of the tapes more so than anything, I bet.
I think it's the tapes, and the Ceylon thing doesn't help. And because right now they're in summer, people are supposedly spending a ton of money at the parks. Supposedly, I don't know. We haven't seen the numbers yet. And they finally got a movie that's making some money. And like you said, Tom, they got Deadpool around the corner. Woo-wee. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, between what Elon said and definitely the tapes, I think is what's going on.
Sorry to hijack the show in your super chat.
No. This is exactly in line with everything we're talking about. And yeah, it's
sorry about that.
No, don't be. Knock your sorries off.
All right, I just don't want people to think I'm a YouTuber. Other than that, we're good.
Well, I hope you have 10 more minutes because we have.
Yeah. No, I'm here for whatever you want. I'm
fantastic.
I got the next. I'm on lunch break.
Yeah. So we got a couple more super chats, and then we're gonna head on over to Rumble.
Oh,
Chaos Sonic 1 sends in 2 and says, besides DC originally any memorabilia that Mike likes. Well, Mike likes He-Man. Yeah. He likes old school Star Wars. He's got tons and tons of lightsabers. He likes nunchucks like me. Yeah. What else do you like?
Star Trek stuff.
Oh, that's right. Captain Kirk's your dad.
Yeah, Captain Kirk is my TV dad. And him and Pepe Le Pew were a guiding light in my dating life, style, and choices.
This
Pepe
explains so much.
Like, I remember when it dawned on me, I was like, yeah, growing up as a little boy watching Captain Kirk reruns combined with Pepe Le Pew, that is pretty much my entire dating style.
Yeah, there we go. Indeed. And moving on from there, Miguel is now shifting strategy. Wait, Paul wants Smurfs comics?
No, I don't. Miguel, cool. Please do not send me a truckload of Smurf comics.
Smurfs, difficult to upload into 2024. And Stian Monstad has been a member for 23 months, and we're so glad to have you here. And so are we for Chuck Henry, who's been here for 20 months, and all other members. Probably we'll have a member stream tomorrow. Just stay tuned for confirmation of that. Probably that is coming. And with that, we are fully caught up on the super chats. And I take that back. SFX F314 Sabertooth Raptor says for $5. In some ways, I'm like Mexican Iron Man. My dad passed away before I was 1 year old. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Well, my dad didn't die. My dad just found out my mom was pregnant, and he went back to Mexico and said, fuck this shit, I'm out. My biological dad, before I was adopted.
Yeah. So, that sucks either way. And Kitty Bears have also been a member for 31 months. Fantastic. And with that, we said we were talking about the biggest flops of the week. So we've already covered the Acolyte. We have covered the Captain America reshoots, which is getting more and more expensive by the day. But speaking of flop, I think the biggest flop of this week was Biden on stage yesterday. So we'll be talking about that presently by popular requests. And that may be a little bit too spicy for YouTube and maybe not what some of you want. So we're giving you all the chance to exit right now. And if you don't want to exit, then head on over to Rumble. Link for that is in the description. No, it's not in the description. Sorry, it's on X. So head on over to X. There you will find the link to the Rumble stream. Because probably you can't even put it in the chat here. So yeah, let's get ready to Rumble. Meanwhile, Kelechi Oki sends a Rumble rant reminder, but we can actually do that on Rumble, can't we, Tom? And Tom had to bow out, probably.
Yeah, and I don't know the answer because I'm Mexican and not a Rumbler YouTuber.
Do I just stay here?
Yeah, you just stay. You don't have to do anything.
What's the question?
we're just pushing a button behind the scenes here.
Well, you need to. We're going over to.
Yeah.
And we
Okay,
say
I think
bye
I
to
remember how to do
everybody.
it.
Yeah, but we can get caught
We
up
got to
on
end
the
this
Rumble
somehow
rounds.
over here, though, right?
Yeah, we just end it over here.
Well, I know, but I mean, we can't just like end it. We got to give them.
No,
Andre goes to the YouTube backend studio and he ends it manually in the YouTube backend.
Yeah, that's all you got to do if that's what you want to do.
I mean, I that's what I've heard. I wouldn't know because I'm not a YouTuber, but that's what I've heard.
Yeah.
I don't know
So
what
we
you're
just say bye to the YouTubers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and wow, they changed this. Let's see.
I think you just remove the Twitter one. Is all you
Yeah,
do.
you could just see where it says you are live on the top right?
Yeah.
You just hit remove.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So then we say goodbye to all of you guys on YouTube and join us over on Rumble.